Okay, so hello everyone. Thank you for joining. Happy Women's Day, and thank you for taking time off, time out of your schedule on Monday specifically. Mm, so I'm Anu, Customer Success Manager at Ami Boyd's Technologies. We are Atlassian marketplace vendor. I have also uh, became an Atlassian Community Champion for Pune chapter. So even before I was a champion, I came across this wonderful community that Brita and Holly were already, leading, and they had a couple of sessions already. So yeah, that's how we connected, and we thought, why not do virtual event, a global event on the occasion of Women's Day, and that's why we are here. Brita, would you like to
Mhm.
change the next screen? Yeah. Yeah, I guess, yeah, Brita, you can continue with the agenda and then I'll again take over.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, so thank you, Anu, for welcoming everybody. So I'm just here to give a little bit of background story, what has happened in the past, so that you just know why we came together today. Because we had this community is fairly new. We founded Holly Wright and I founded it last year, but the idea was not new. There were many different women in the Atlassian ecosystem who have just engaged in the women community earlier on, but we thought it should be it should be set it in the Atlassian community program. So that's why we founded the Women of the Atlassian Ecosystem community chapter. And I would like to encourage you to sign up to the chapter, because I think some of you already are part of the chapter. Some of you, especially the ones who are new today, have not signed up to the chapter. But if you want to stay up to date and if you want to see more of what we're planning, I just would love to have you on board. And as we had, I think, 3 virtual meetups before in this kind of setting, but also in-person meetups. But what I've shown in the virtual meetups was I gave a little bit like some numbers just to have a legitimate reason to be together. And this is the Atlassian Sustainability Report from 2025, and they state the gender representation inside of Atlassian. So those are the numbers from Atlassian employees. And we still see that, especially in the technical roles part, we have a roughly 25% male domination and 25% women in technical roles. And I think they are doing great in the non-technical role division, but I think there's room for improvement. So just to give you a bit of background about that. And when it comes to leadership, we also see there's a 26 or 77% to 23% division. So there could be more. And especially as we have 2 great women in leadership today, I'm proud to be to just see how we progress in being gender represented like equally. So this was the Atlassian side, but having a view of the gender representation in the ecosystem, this is also, it's a combination of the sustainability report, the D&I report, and data compiled from ChatGPT. So don't quote me on that. It's a bit of like rough numbers, but like even from open profiles and estimates, we see that women still are a minority in the tech field. So I think we do have a good reason to have a good group mission, and we also, like, just from my perspective, it's just a matter of being seen in this in the tech branch, and to network, to connect, share ideas, have a positive and welcoming community together. And we will learn, I think, today that this is quite useful for everybody, and we just want to support each other. And in previous meetings, we were discussing, are we exclusive only for women, or are we inclusive to all genders? And we are inclusive to all genders. So if you are an ally, if you want to support women, you are open to join the group, and you are open to just connect with each other, with us. But be aware that the topic is women in tech, and that's what we're about. And what we also did in the past, and that's something I want to bring to the stage today as well, is we have a member spotlight format where we ask you, great women, to just share your successes, your life stories, your every type of insight you have in a format with us, in a form with us. And we are planning to distribute those the input we collect through an email campaign. So as of now, it will be internal to the group or to the chapter. So we're not sharing it publicly. It will be just distributed within our community chapter. But we will see if we will share it publicly. It depends a bit on what you are comfortable with. But feel free to scan the QR code. It will lead you to a Google form. And I will also share the link in the chat later on. So if you want to fill it out later, you can also do it later. But this is roughly how it looks like. You can just share some personal information. You can share career stories, leadership advice. So whatever comes to your mind, what you think is valuable for other women to know. And also, if you were not able to scan the QR code, I will share the link in the chat. And finally, for my introduction, the next in-person meetup we are planning is in Anaheim, because I love to meet you virtually, but I also love to meet people in person. So I would be very happy to meet you in Anaheim, which is it's before the conference hours of Atlassian Team 2026. We will casually hang out, have a coffee. This is like a format of meetup we had great success with, because people like actually just warm up with each other and get to know each other and connect. So feel free to sign up via this link. And make sure to have a coffee with us. And we have a coffee sponsorship from K15. Call out to Erica and Michaela, who are providing us with coffee. So I would be happy to see you all, or maybe a few of you. I don't know who's able to make it to Anaheim, but I would be happy to meet you in person. So finally, let's dive in. Anu, I'm handing back over to you.
Yeah. Okay, I still don't have an option to share the screen. Okay. Or we can continue that way. Yeah, sure. So before we dive in, I just wanted to do a quick global vibe check, right? So I'm going to paste this in the chat. What you have to do is quickly just pick the emoji from the message that I'm sending that is relevant to your continent, and then just send that emoji to the chat. So as we all know, this is a global event, and we just want to know how globally we are tuning in, or from where exactly you're tuning in. So just fill in the chat. That's really fun. Thank you for joining from all these different parts of the world, and you know making this community better and fun. So we can move on to the next segment then. You may want to pause it for a moment. Yeah,
Yeah.
so basically what happened is, since this event is specifically on the occasion of Women's Day, I was just thinking of, sharing some video that will inspire all of us. And then, Rita came with this particular video where we have Anu Bharadwaj, ex-president of Atlassian, talking about why we should have women community, or why when she realized that we should have a women community, and why she believes in that thought as well. So I just thought that we can why not share this, because all of us know Anu, and we all are inspired by the way she works, by the way she works in the Atlassian community and the things that she has done for women and entire community. So yeah, I thought there would not be any other video better than this. So yes, Brita, you can play this video. Maybe you can just yeah,
Let
start
me know
playing
if
it.
if you hear the audio correctly, but I hope
Right.
it works out.
Voice and learning from other people. You both gave examples of learning from others. Is there any advice, maybe I'll ask you, Anu, that you've gotten in your career that sticks with you? You shared a story a few minutes ago. Is there anything else like that that sticks with you as you think about advice?
A particular story this that I received. Like Heather was saying at the beginning, um, there are moments in time where I feel like I've received useful advice where it may not have landed with me at the moment, or in fact, even a few years down the line. And then at some point of time, I thought about it and I thought, oh, actually, that was really good advice. And one example of that was building a community of women, right? So when I started out in my career, I started my career at Microsoft being a video games developer. I was a computer science engineer and I got out of school straight into that job. I couldn't believe it was a real job. I was like, you'll pay me for this thing? This is cool. Sign me up. And when I joined Microsoft during the early months of joining, I met a woman who was a VP of engineering, and it was a chance meeting. It wasn't something I set up with my own initiative. And she said, "Hey, it's cool that you're working on this game. Just make sure that you build a community of women around you that you can go to for help and support when you need it." I heard that and I thought, I don't understand this. Why do I need a community of women? Like in my head, I was a middle-aged white man because everyone around me were middle-aged white men. So I was like, I don't know, just think about creating groups of women. Why? What's the difference? And also, I had grown up in India in the 80s with a very, very privileged childhood, as I realized later, because my mom raised me with the belief that everyone is born equal. It doesn't matter if you're a man or woman. What matters is the effort you put in into a situation. So I had this naive belief that everywhere out in the world, that's what it looks like. It's all about equality. It doesn't matter what your skin color is, what your gender is, none of it is relevant. So when she gave me that advice, I thought, this is an odd piece of advice, whatever, move on. And over the years, as I experienced what the external world actually looked like, I started getting comments around, oh, girl developer, interesting. Why don't you comb your hair? And are you sure you want to give a technical talk? And at first I thought, this is odd. Why are you asking an engineer if they want to give a technical talk? What else will they do? That's all they know. And then it struck me, wait, all the guys on the team are not getting these comments. It's just me who's getting this comment. This is odd and unfair at so many levels. And it took me a few years, I have to say, because foundational beliefs are hard to shift. I kept thinking, maybe it's just one or two incidents, whatever, just keep pushing and it'll all be okay. And it took me a few years before I realized actually people do treat men and women differently. And it's not just the men who treat women differently, it's also the women who treat women differently. Because sexism is so inherent and so many unconscious biases that we learn that we do it ourselves to other women. But over the years, I found that as I built community and friendships with women, as Heather was saying, they've all gone through the same experience. They've all had to deal with the same bullshit. So you're like, okay, here's a group of people that I feel like I genuinely belong with, that I can share my experiences with, that I can learn their lessons that they had to learn the hard way. Maybe I don't have to do the same thing the hard way. And I realized the importance of community. So when she gave me that advice early on in my career, I was not ready to receive it. But about a decade into my career, I realized the wisdom of that advice.
Thinking about men in the audience, there are a few, so thank you for coming, who want to uplift women.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, so that was the video from 2023 on the occasion of women. It was all about women in tech, and I think possibly not in all regions or not everywhere, but somehow that still resonate with a lot of us, where we face these problems and we really feel that why can't we have a community only for women's where they help each other to grow, learn, support each other. And I think that's really a good thing to have such community so we can come together and grow. Coming back to the session and today's main session basically. So we are going to have two speakers today. Aradhana Gupta. She's Senior Solution Architect at Amrut Software in Mumbai, India. And then we have Janet Hagelund, who is CTO at Refined. So both these ladies today are going to share about their journeys, and their experiences in the community, Atlassian community, as well as overall across their entire career. Because yeah, I just yeah, Rita, you can just take the next slide. Yeah. So talking about Aradhana, I'll first give the introduction about both of them, and then one by one, Aradhana and Janet will speak or give their presentations. So Aradhana has over 2 decades of experience in her entire career, and she has worked across different areas like development, team leadership, project management, and definitely I'm sure many more areas apart from this. She is expert in DC to cloud migrations and ITSM architecture. She focuses on solution consulting and problem solving. As a strong communicator with result driven approach, I'm sure today we will get a lot of things to learn from her and understand about her journey. When I was talking with Aradhana today, I just asked her what is one or two lines that she would like to share with us as her belief or an advice, and that's what she shared with me, that she likes to she is always curious about learning new things, and one should never wait for a perfect moment, rather than we should start anyway, because until we start, nothing is going to happen. So I really like that piece of advice, and I thought it's really good to put on the screen for all of us today. On the next slide, we have Yanit. So Yanit comes with 13 plus years of experience. She is expert in server, data center, cloud, and Forge platforms. She believes in calm, thoughtful, and sustainable leadership, passionate about strong team culture and respectful collaboration. I really like this part about strong team culture and respectful collaboration, because be men or women, everyone looks for the same thing at work, at home, everywhere, right? So this is something really stayed with me. I found this quote when I was reading about Janet, and she believes that doesn't matter you are a leader or an individual contributor, both the path are individual or different in their own ways. It's just all about the self reflection, what you love to do, and what all efforts you take in your own way. So that's really a fantastic thing to learn from Yanit, I believe. And yeah, so let's start with Aradhana's session, and then we will go on with Yanit's session. Over to you, Aradhana.
And I will stop screen sharing. Maybe Aradhana, then you're able to share the screen. Yes, if you want to.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, I can now share. So let me just try that out. Yeah, can you see my screen now?
It's working.
Great. So thank you everyone for having me here, and thank you, Anu, for inviting me to speak here. I mean, my usual day is with tools, probably looking at workflows, talking about transformations. So talking at events like this is actually the fun part of my day. I look forward to this, and thank you for having me here, and a very happy Women's Day to everyone out here. I see there are a few men too, but I'm sure they're going to be as happy for our Women's Day. So happy Women's Day, everyone. And yeah, those who, I mean, I've not met a lot of you. I think I've met Anu earlier and maybe a few more people. So I'm Aradhana. I have been around in the IT field for over, around 24, 25 years now. And I've been in the Atlassian ecosystem for almost a decade now. And I think I started back in 2016 or something, just fumbled into the Atlassian ecosystem and been there since then. I'm okay. I forgot that I have a presentation. I'm sorry. Okay, yeah. Yeah. So I've been working, as I said, I started off with very traditional roles. I didn't get up one fine day thinking that I'd be part of this ecosystem. But when I started working, I was doing the typical jobs like development. I started as a developer. I still believe I'm a developer at heart, and then walk through management, a typical life cycle in IT, right? You do management, developer, go into management. I went into consulting and then pre-sales, wore lots of different hats through the way. Started with delivery, grew into consulting, and then into leadership roles over the years. I work with Amrut Software, that's an Atlassian partner, and I'm very fortunate actually, because I have the opportunity to work in an organization that encourages women into leadership roles and helps them contribute. In fact, encourages them to contribute actively. And I've been part of that organization for the past decade or so. And today I'd just like to share a little bit about my journey, how it started, and where I was going, etc., etc. So when I started, I just was using Atlassian tool sets, Jira, Confluence, GSM. Back then it was JSD. And for me, it was just another tool stack when I started, and was using them, working with them. Then I realized something very unique about this space. It was not about the tools. The ecosystem was not built around the tools. In fact, it was more about the ecosystem that was for these tools. So there was a very, very strong community from the very go in the Atlassian space. And that really resonated with me. And that pulled me deeper into it. My career graph usually shows that in 3-4 years, I get bored of a particular technology and I'll move into something else, try to find my niche there. And somehow I've been here for the past 16 odd years. And this community is a very big reason why I'm still around here. And when I started off, right, the Atlassian community was very different from what it is today. We've heard today how this women community came about. We heard Anu speak. When I walked into this ecosystem, there was something known as Atlassian user groups. They were still called user groups. And it was, people knew about Jira. Jira was always a very popular tool back then too. Atlassian was still rapidly growing. It isn't the Atlassian it was today. It was still growing and evolving through this space. And that then moved into AUGs, became A's. And then now we have these Atlassian champions, community champions, and all of that. And though I have seen, what is very beautiful is I have seen this whole thing grow. I have seen all of this change. But at the heart of it, it still remains. The community still remains the same. It's all about collaboration. It's all about being there for each other. It's all about sharing your experiences and helping others grow. And that is something that is really very unique to this space. Believe me, there are a lot of ecosystems around, there are a lot of communities around, but I think the Atlassian community is where the whole Atlassian tool set grew from a community mindset. There were people who adopted it because there were people who were using the product and preaching about it and saying how good it is in their communities. And that's what helped Atlassian, or for that matter, their flagship product, Jira, back then, Jira software, become this huge success in the market. So yeah, community is something that has stayed very close to me in this entire journey, and I'll let you know how that has actually helped me. So I consider myself to be an introvert. I love sitting behind a desk. I love just, doing my work, building solutions, getting work done, etc. Anybody who has met me, I'm sure Anu would also say that I don't put myself out there. I don't talk a lot. But obviously, professionally, I have to work with my teams, my clients, my partners. what Atlassian community did to me was something very different. It slowly started to nudge me. It started when I started interacting in the Mumbai community that I'm the champion for. I suddenly was talking and giving solutions and discussing with a very large group. Uh, India is a very populated country. Mumbai, most densely populated among them. So our events and meetups are huge. We unfortunately sometimes have to reject people because of the numbers that turn up. So it was a large audience that I was speaking to and I was talking to. And it was way outside of my natural zone. And I was always worried, how will I do it? Will I be able to do it? Uh, being in the tech field, I definitely have always second guessed myself, always questioned whether I'm good enough. Not seeing many people of the same gender out there, I've always second guessed myself. And same thing happened when I was trying to speak at the community events, right? I was trying more than speak, I was trying to manage, trying to get these. We have, I would say, my first event had almost around 150 people who turned up for the event. We weren't prepared for this. But yeah, so it pulled this community, though I like it, pushed somebody who likes to sit behind the scenes, slowly pushed me on stage. And that changed a lot in me professionally and personally. So during the big first community event, like I was talking about that, and I was wondering, will people turn up? Be able to communicate? Will we be able to connect with people? But what left me in awe was the ease with which people communicated. People whom you've never met before, whom you'd call strangers, maybe. We were discussing our career graphs, we were discussing our problems, we were discussing our solutions way beyond the Atlassian ecosystem. We were no longer talking about Jira workflows. We were probably talking, how do you navigate a certain problem at workplace? Or for a city like Mumbai, how do I get from place A to place B on time and not be late for that meeting of mine? So it actually brought everyone together. I had people from various communities. Anu's part of the Pune community. It is a well-established community. For my first Mumbai meet with my team, I had them travel all the way to Mumbai. They helped us get it through. The community managers at Atlassian helped us get through. And in that moment, I realized something. This community is not about the presentations or the sessions. It's about these connects that we build, about these long lasting collaborations that we build. And that has actually helped me stay connected and be over here. How many of you, I think, resonate with it or have had that opportunity to meet and collaborate with people? I mean, I've traveled to Amsterdam, Barcelona, not to Anaheim, but to Vegas. And just if you go and tell them, okay, I'm part of this community, you just make friends all over the world. I mean, just a question out there. Anybody who has felt the same or can resonate with this experience so far? Can unmute. I'm sure I think you'll have the option to unmute.
Volunteers to the front.
Ironic to tell that an introvert is asking somebody to speak, but yeah, that's how
I can go ahead. Hi, my name is Sarah. I'm an Atlassian solutions architect. I do connect actually with the aspect of global collaboration. I've been working with teams across continents. I do travel a lot. I travel between Jakarta, Cairo, Abu Dhabi, Dubai, and Riyadh. So that did have quite an impact on me. I also prefer working behind the desk. In addition, this is my first participation ever in any of the Atlassian community groups, so I'm quite excited. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah. Yeah. So.
Well, Yeah, I also want to add something. Like, hi, I'm Anamika, and just like you said that you every time meet someone and found like yes, it's like some connection. So that's same for me. Like I have onboarded as a community champion a year ago, and I'm from like India, Jaipur community leader. So I also travel to the nearby communities and like Bangalore, Noida, and all. So it's really like I don't know the people who are there, but just in the first meet when we get to know that these are the community, these are also champion or they are also Atlassian community members. So at a first glance, at first at first meet, it's to feel like a connection that yes, we are in a team, and it is so easy that yes, like we are making a community. Like it feels so easy. Like I don't know them people, but after just coming in this ecosystem, in this community, it feels so easy when we meet someone who is in the same community, whether it's a member or champion. It feels like a very easy that yes, we are a team members. We know each other like from ages. It feels like that. So it is so good to be part of this community.
Great. Thank you so much, Anamika. Yeah, so I'll quickly just talk about something, that mostly everyone here can relate to, being a woman in technology. Early in my career, I often have walked into meetings where I was the only woman there. And that definitely felt very intimidating. You sometimes wonder, should I speak up? Sometimes you feel that you have to prove yourself more. And over times, I realized something very, very important. Most people in tech, even the ones who look extremely, extremely confident, are just figuring things out as they go. Nobody, nobody, including me, everybody, nobody knows everything. And it's just the difference between people who grow faster or who are them who put themselves out there. It's confidence, it's visibility, and that's the things that make you stand out. That's what makes you different. A lot of women, I mean, I'm sure everyone in this room today, do incredible work, but we're very hesitant to speak about it. We usually wait till we're 100% ready. And meanwhile, there is somebody who's out there who's maybe 60% ready, but they're giving presentations, they're talking, and they're putting them out. They're not scared to probably put themselves out there. A lot of it sometimes is social conditioning. We saw those statistics shared at the beginning where there are very few who represent us out there. So one of the biggest lessons that I have learned is don't wait until you feel completely ready. Share your knowledge, ask questions, participate, because growth often comes when you push yourself out of your comfort zone. If I have to just talk about 2 or 3 of these lessons that I have learned, right? Like Anu, I mean, it is what I believe in. Stay curious. Technology is a forever changing space, and curiosity is a very, very important skill set that we have. Second is say yes to opportunities. A lot of opportunities in my careers came when I said yes before I felt completely ready. That has helped me come where I have today. And then build these relationships in this ecosystem. The Atlassian ecosystem is global. This room right now is proving that, right? So through community, you can connect to people across the globe. You can learn from experts. You can ask questions. And believe me, it will open doors that you never even thought existed for you. So yeah, if there's anything that I want to tell to people, not that you all need advice, but if there's anything that I would want to tell on Women's Day, this is what I would want to tell. And on a closing note, the communities are a very safe space. They're a very safe place for you to learn, to ask questions without hesitation, to share knowledge, and sometimes, like me, to discover confidence that you never thought you had. For me, the Atlassian community has helped me get out of my comfort zone. And before I wrap up, I'll just tell you one thing. If you're already part of this ecosystem, you're already part of one of the most supportive tech communities out there. So ask your questions, share your knowledge, speak up, and we need more women like that. If there's anything I've learned in the past 2.5 decades of mine, it's like nobody really knows anything. And the difference is just who's willing to ask questions, experiment, and only occasionally, break a few workflows in the process. Thank you, everyone, and thank you for listening to me.
Thank you, Aradhana. I'm sure this definitely relates to many of us. I was looking at the chat and many people agreed with you. A lot of them were able to relate, the things that you mentioned, the learnings, the experiences. So definitely. Mm, One thing that I personally can relate is that, yes, definitely in the community, Atlassian community, we learn to grow. People are very, very supportive. Whenever you have questions, they are always there to help you and, make you understand how things work, or they are there to give you an advice like what you should do next. Um, I met Aradhana in my first community event at Mumbai, the one that she was talking about. We really had a good chat, and that from that event, actually, almost 1 year or so from now, 1 year back from now, at that time I had decided, yeah, I want to participate in more and more events, and I kept participating in, Pune in virtual events, and here we are. I'm so happy that, we can all relate with what exactly Atlassian community is and how it helps us all to grow together. And yeah, the points that you mentioned in Aradhana, like, being curious, sharing your knowledge, learning, growing together by supporting others and learning from them. Yeah, so I think that's what community is all about. Thank you for sharing your experiences and learning, Aradhana. Now let's hear it from Yanit. Yes, Yanit, over to you.
Thank you. So I decided to do this without any slides. So let's see how this goes. So hi everyone, very nice to see all of you here. Thanks for asking me to be part of the conversation today. So one of the questions that I get like maybe more often that I would like is like, oh, how did you become a CTO? It's so rare to see a CTO who is a woman. So I'm gonna talk a little bit about that. So this is more like a little bit of a kind of like a story, and then I'm gonna share a little bit about like what has been some of the kind of key points on my career, and also some of the things that I have learned along the way. I really enjoyed watching the clip from Anu. I think like someone wrote in the chat that Anu will be deeply missed, and I do agree. I think she was such a fun kind of energetic spark amongst all the middle-aged men on the stage. But yeah, just to kind of get to the very beginning of it all. So I've always been a bit of a nerd. I was very into video games, and I started to like build my own websites when I was like maybe somewhere between 10 and 12. And this was, of course, the time back in the days when you had no IDs, so you had only like literally like a notepad that you would write your code into. But I still remember so vividly the moment when I learned how to do a hyperlink. Like this seems like such a small thing, but back when I was a child, it was so fascinating. Like, how do all these things connect on the internet? It was so fun. And then I ended up studying like kind of digital media and everything around that, and that kind of then led me into programming. But then in the university, when I had to start learning Java, I was like totally lost. And I remember like on my one of the courses in the beginning, I was like, I'm never gonna even pass this course. Like this is some kind of like dark magic. I don't get this at all. But then on one day, suddenly everything just clicked when we moved into object-oriented programming. And I like this whole new world kind of opened up, and I was like, oh my God, this is gonna be so much fun. And it was indeed so much fun. So when I got my first job, I couldn't believe that someone is actually gonna pay me money for doing all this. But in my first job, I started to work with like critical business systems. Like so we built these sort of like experience layers on top of different ERP systems. So like highly critical business systems. And for example, software that would be used to plan maintenance for like mining equipment. So what is the maintenance cycle to replace a part of this like mining equipment? And I understood nothing from this industry. Like this whole domain was like rocket science for me. It was so difficult. But then when I kind of worked on these projects and I got to understand the domain a little bit, it really changed things. So even like understanding just a little bit it really helped to make better decisions as a programmer. Like it was so much easier to like have a little bit of empathy towards the user when you start understanding what is even slightly important. And I think like in the age of AI, I think this sort of characteristic will become even more important than before. It's not about just writing the code. It's really about understanding the problem, and kind of like the wider you can expand your knowledge around the area will be such a crucial component going forward. At least that's what I think, because like writing the code will no longer be kind of the hard part. It will be figuring out what to do and what is important. One of my kind of key points on my career was when I decided to move from Finland to Sweden. I mean, it's literally the country next door, and it's basically the same country, but there is a border in between. But like this was such a moment in my life. It was not dramatic at all, but it kind of made me expand my horizon in some way, like being totally new in this environment. And I wasn't really sure if I was going to move. Like it was a relocation for my job. But then I thought, like, why not? I can always come back. And I thought maybe I will stay a year. But I ended up staying for 5 years, and it was such a good time. And during those 5 years, then I joined Refined, the company where I'm currently working at. And yeah, Refined has been in the Atlassian ecosystem for a really long time. I think maybe something like 16 years or something. And a little bit similar concept that I have worked with before. So building these experience layers on top of Confluence and JSM to make them more like intuitive and user-friendly. So kind of like right up my alley. And when I joined, we were 8 people. So it was a very small startup at a time. But with the small startup came, of course, like a lot of opportunities. So I worked as a developer building the server and the DC products. And I was so excited to get like this domain that is a little bit easier to understand. I had used the tools before, so I was kind of already familiar with them. But like it was such a fun time to also like dig very deep into the user and the problem, and again like do a little bit wider or like have a little bit wider understanding of the problem and kind of find the solutions from that. And after some time, I was asked if I wanted to get more responsibility, and honestly I didn't. I just wanted to write the code and like have fun with the product. But then I don't know, like at some point I realized that if I keep saying no, maybe I'm going to miss out on something. So I started saying yes instead. And maybe the key message here, which is maybe not the best message, is I never had like a strict career strategy on like what I want to do. I never had these like goalposts in my head that, oh, by this time I want to do this, or this will be a strategic thing. I just said yes, and the opportunities kind of came. Yeah, then the stretch role, which is the CTO role. So like at some point in life, you may come across a job or a role where you will have opportunity to take on something that you are not ready for. And you know from the beginning that it's going to be a big stretch. And I really encourage to say yes. Like it's going to be hard for sure, but you're going to figure it out along the way. it's a really different job, of course, to go from an individual contributor to the CTO role or to any kind of leadership role. Because you go from having all the information and like being so deep in all of the different topics, and then suddenly just having to lead other people, which is like a totally new skill set that you somehow have to obtain. But I think there is also strength in being a people leader who can, when necessary, dig deep into the domain. I think that will that makes it a lot easier to make good decisions. Yeah, I've had a lot of like questioning myself along the way, because like I said, it has definitely been a stretch role. And it's been a lot of these, do I actually know what I'm doing? I'm glad that someone else said that no one knows what they're doing. We're all just figuring it out, because that is definitely how I feel. Or should someone more qualified be doing this instead? And am I experienced enough, and so on? But then what has been really interesting is when I talk to male peers, it's so obvious that they do not question themselves this way. And I'm like, maybe there is something I need to learn a little bit from this. Like, it seems like men are so much more likely to assume that they can figure it out. So I've tried to adopt a little bit of that mindset and kind of have these phrases where it's like, I've been trusted this position for a reason. No one really knows what they're doing, right? And also, like, leadership is something that is like, you will have to also learn along the way, because you cannot know everything from before. And I think this is an important thing for everyone, all the women working in tech, because sometimes the biggest barrier isn't even like capability or capacity, but sometimes it's confidence. Because if you're waiting to feel completely ready for something, that day might never come. Like, you're never gonna necessarily feel that ready. Yeah, just to kind of wrap up on some of the things that have helped me along the way. So saying yes to opportunities, it's like, especially when they feel a little bit scary. So kind of leaning into the scary a little bit, because it probably means it's something big or meaningful. I think also important is to know your values, because in the long run, if you're constantly having to go against your own personal values, it's gonna be really tough. So, for example, for me, some of my values are like integrity and trust. I value this extremely. So it's so important for me to have an environment where I know that the company and my colleagues also value integrity and trust as like core values. Similarly, with knowledge, I also value that highly, like definitely knowledge over ego. And then also empathy and curiosity. Like, these have definitely been like very useful for me to think about along the way as well. And then the third one is being authentic and being like trying to bring your whole self to work, which is something that I really try to do. And what I mean by that is like being honest with who I am and what I value, and also how I lead. But also, of course, I still work in a professional environment. So it doesn't mean that I'm like sharing everything or having no boundaries, but it's more like being open about uncertainty. So when I don't know something, I will openly say that this is not something I know right now, but I will figure it out, or ask someone. I will also try to lead with empathy and curiosity and meet people also with this, which is especially helpful. Like with Refined, we are people from over 20 different nationalities. So there is a lot of, you need a lot of curiosity to get to know people. And then also not trying to act like a CTO is supposed to act, because there is no particular way. Earlier in my career, I tried to sometimes, like, I felt like I had to fit maybe a little bit into this like tech bro mold to be taken seriously. But now I try to lean a little bit more into who I am. And one interesting moment was when I was talking with someone about this feeling of like being the only woman in the room, which occasionally has felt really hard because it feels like, in a way, you stand out. And the thing that she said to me was like, "What do you mean? That's like a superpower. Imagine when everyone leaves that room. Who are they most likely going to remember?" And I'm like, that's an interesting way to look at it. So then I've tried to lean into a little bit of that I actually will get a little bit of, like, in a way, extra attention to my like talking points or to my opinions when we are discussing things. And that has this has actually worked really well for me. So yeah, my career has not been a straight line. I also did a stretch of COO before I became the CTO, because I originally didn't want to accept the CTO role because it's such a visible role, and I also like to work in the shadows or behind the desk. But yeah, what I'm trying to say is I don't think you need to have a perfect career plan. You can also try to wing it if you just remain curious and have courage to try, and do not let fear hold you back on your decisions. That's it.
Thank you, Janet. It was definitely, a lot inspiring, talk. And it's so good to hear about your experiences, specifically the thing that you mentioned about the values, right? The integrity, trust, knowledge over ego. These things, I think, definitely everyone can relate, or everyone expects at work, or at even in personal lives as well. So it does not only relate with your work life, but it also relates with your personal life as well. And the thing that you mentioned about being a coder, I guess I hear it from many coders, I guess, here also in the room. A lot of them will be able to relate, because even Aradhana mentioned that she still loves to code, but then she also has accepted these leadership roles, and for a reason, of course. So you have given a really good example of when to say no or when to say yes, right? We normally learn that we should learn to say no, but you have also given an example. We should also say yes to the things that come across. Yeah, so that is definitely a great piece of advice. And about the Anu's video that I shared, Rita has already shared that link on the chat. I would say every one of you should watch that video. It's really inspiring. She has shared a lot of experiences about her life, and there are really good piece of advices as well she has talked about. So it is definitely inspiring. Means I just wanted that specific bite from that video, but I ended up watching the entire video. So it's really good. So all of you must watch that video. So yeah, I would like to ask people if they have any questions for Aradhana and Yanit. The floor is open for you. Please feel free to unmute yourself and ask the questions.
No questions, but it was really very inspiring to see this both journey and how they are building it. So thank you so much to both of you for sharing so much of inspiration and all.
Anyone? Yeah, Sarah, do you want to say something?
Actually, I don't have any questions. I just want to say thank you for the inspiration. I'm definitely looking up to both of you.
Okay. Yeah, so if you don't have any questions, I guess, Brita, maybe you want to share the screen. And yeah, one more thing, last time we missed it, Brita, we should, if whoever can share the, turn on their cameras, we should definitely ask them to turn on the camera and take the pictures of all the, tiles that are there. We will have to scroll a bit because we really have a lot of people joining today, but we should take those pictures. So we will do that at the end. So be ready to turn on your camera at the end.
Thank you. And can I also add something?
Yeah, sure.
Yes. So first, thank you to the speakers, and I'd like to share another really amazing TED talk. Mike Cannon, what's his name? The co-founder of Atlassian. I'm so sorry. I'm Scott Farquhar, but you know what? And he's talking in a TED talk about the imposter syndrome. So, and I found it really amazing, you know, because well, a few words on my side. I used to work more than 25 years in IT for Siemens, for Microsoft, for Atlassian. And I had the honor also to be on stage on a Women in Tech research internally from Atlassian and one of the partners, Cyber Media in Germany. One of you, some of you know me already, but I made myself self-employed, and now I'm really focusing on women and on, let's say, really help and support them to rise and to shine and to be authentic. But I really want to say that also men, they have challenging as well. So no matter whether there is a man or a woman, they all have their struggles and their challenges. And I think we women, we also have lots of benefits as we are women. Janet, you said it wonderfully that, you know, being the one woman in a room, you always have, you know, you have benefits as well. But of course, there is this part of proving again and again and again, but that's inside ourselves, right? So I think what I want to say is really be authentic and don't focus on the, let's say, weaknesses so much, but be aware that also men have it, you know. That's what I just wanted to add, and maybe I can share the TED talk of Mike, because I really like it. It's about similar challenges, let's say.
Thank you, Claudia. Thank you for sharing this video and sharing your thoughts. I guess most of us will definitely agree with the thoughts that you have shared, and thank you for sharing that with us.
Oh yeah, maybe one last thing. Sorry for interrupting again. I think what's really important, that's what for myself I decided to really to do something completely else. I think what is really, but then it depends on every woman, right? But I think really it's wonderful to be a woman and not try to be a better man, let's say. I think that's really for me special, that we women stay women and not be harder and try to be super tough and try to, you know, in Germany we say Haare auf den Zähnen. For me,
authenticity.
What is it?
Authenticity is key.
Yes,
Yeah.
Totally. Because the higher you get, right? And I really had the honor to let's say, to have a wonderful career. But the higher you get and the smaller women are, and you compete with other men, etc. I mean, of course, the air is getting thinner. But for me, and that's really sad then, you know, when really women have a mask in that sense, they try to be harder, and that's for me sad. But that's another thought I had. Sorry, but I wanted to say.
Thank you so much, Claudia. So the next slide is up. Special thanks to all the communities that are listed here. That's ACE Pune, Patna, ACE Greater Noida, Chandigarh, Faridabad. So basically, I was in touch with ACE Pune about this event for co-hosting us. And when all the communities came to know about this event, they were also ready to co-host, and they reposted, they shared this news, just to make sure that it reaches to maximum women in the community, and we get more and more participation. As and when we had any questions, all of them were ready to answer, ready to help. So thank you for being there, supporting us, co-hosting us. So thank you to all the community leaders from these all ACE chapters. And at the end, just one more chat activity I just wanted to do. So just think of a woman who influenced your career You can type her name or you can type the role in the chat, and let's share your stories in short. Or even if you want to talk, like instead of just adding that role or the name, even if you want to share your stories or share it with everyone, please feel free to unmute yourself.
Can I share? I don't really have a story. It's nothing super emotional or impressive or anything. I am actually from Egypt, which this is why I wrote Africa and Asia. I'm from Egypt, but I live in Jakarta, and I work with one of the largest Atlassian partners in the Middle East. So my work is between multiple countries across the Middle East, and it's been challenging. This is my first time attending such an event with Atlassian, and it feels great that there are so many inspiring women out there. Just wanted to say thank you all for showing up and for all the amazing things you've shared. It's really good.
Thank you, Sarah. So I guess, yeah, that's all for today's session. We really look forward for your participation for upcoming, session. Mostly we will do it virtually, as it's not possible for everyone to be at all the events globally. So definitely we will be connecting more and more virtually. And like Rita mentioned, there are going to be some in-person events also along with the Atlassian events. So if you are going there, if you are going to be the part of those events, please join that in-person meetup as well, because of course you all will agree that in-person meetup is definitely altogether a different experience for everyone. So yeah, be there at the in-person events as well, and keep joining these sessions. It's time for photograph maybe, so we can just take
Yeah.
quick screen grabs. So please feel free to share your screens. And yeah. Okay. 1, 2, 3. I'm taking this first one. Okay. Just give me a moment. And okay, Amrita, is it possible to do a complete or do you need
I
scroll?
just zoomed out a little, and I think I got everybody.
Oh, then maybe you want to take the screenshot. Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Okay,
Let
I
me-
didn't know about the zoom
doing the
out part.
peace
Okay.
sign.
Yeah. 1, 2, 3, say cheese.
Cheese. Got it.
Yes. So last time we actually forgot to take this, so
Yeah, we should have taken it in the beginning. We lost a few on the
yeah.
way.
Yeah, so that's a new learning for next session.
Next session. Always learning. Never say no. Thank you so much,
Thank
everybody.
you. Thank you so much, everybody.
Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you all. Have a great day. Thanks. Bye.
Bye-bye. Special thanks to you, Anu.
Thank you to you as well. We have been, working together.
Yay.